How's it going?
You didn't tell me your favorite song, I don't think.
I didn't? I thought I put something in. What did I put in?
Huh.
There we go. Champion of the World by Coldplay.
I changed in case we end up putting this on YouTube.
No, it's quite all right.
I like to
Thanks for
start
thanks
with
for asking
music.
me to jump on.
So, how's your morning going?
Busy, but good. Been all over
Well,
the place already.
yeah, I didn't expect you to jump on like the very next day, but that's cool.
Yeah, just I know if I keep pushing it off, my next couple weeks get nuts. So
Oh, well, good.
we'll
No,
go
so it's
moving.
super easy. So the daily dose is something we post in the food truck training groups,
Mhm.
and it's just 6 to 9 minutes. So when I do interviews, I typically don't go over 15 minutes. The
Sure.
average listen time seems to be 6 to 9 minutes, and we try to do that so the business owners, like while they're getting ready in the morning or whatever they're doing in the bathroom.
Perfect. I love that.
Yeah. So
So just
first,
going in that food truck group, that's good. What are you planning on releasing next week or a couple weeks later? Or what's the plan?
well, it's up to you. You had mentioned you've got something coming up. So if you want to talk about that, we could kind of dive in. But I do like with first time guests, I like to do, let them get to know you and what your
Yeah.
background is. And then, but we still can talk about your marketing course because it's like a 4-day extravaganza, huh?
Yeah, so we're doing next week we're doing 4 days. I'm nuts. I don't know why I decided to do this, but I am. We'll do 4 days, 2 sessions per day. It'll be a repeat because we find, just not everybody can get on at the same time.
Right.
But then launching next week as well, a membership platform, which is like a marketing strategy. Every month members get marketing strategy and templates and through Canva and tons of stuff around marketing, all specific for food trucks. So that's launching middle of next week, which is why I'm doing the 4 different courses. And then of course I plan on Friday through the weekend to be out of town. So it's just the way it's going to go.
Oh, there you go. So
Right.
are you coming up for the players? You're in Orlando, right?
Yeah, I'm in Orlando. Yep. No, we're
Yeah.
going down to the Keys and then I have some other stuff to go do too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, God, I haven't been to the Keys in forever. I need to like get a little crew together, go do that. I live in St. Augustine, so everybody keeps coming here.
All right.
I don't go
St. Augustine's fun.
anywhere. Yeah. So okay, cool. So today I've got with me for our listeners, Scott Morrison. He owns food trucks. He's a business owner, entrepreneur, and he also is kicking some serious butt, putting out amazing marketing materials for food truck business owners. So you're in for it today if you're listening and you're waking up with the daily dose. So Scott, tell us a little bit about your background real quick and how you got into the food truck business.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on. Thanks for asking me to come and do this. I've been around entrepreneurs and small businesses for 15 plus years, owning my own, but also working for a lot of companies that supported them or had technology or did something around entrepreneurship, but always on the sales and marketing side. A few years back, we had a crazy idea. I live in Orlando, Florida. We looked around and for some reason, there was no shaved ice businesses here. We had lived out west where there's a ton of them. So really long story short, we got the crazy idea. Let's go find one and open one. And the best model for that is a food trailer. So we did a ton of research. We ended up finding a food trailer. We bought it. And then we realized we don't know anything about food trucks and the whole food side of things. I understood the sales and marketing. I understand processes. I understand business ownership. But then my wife and I are looking at each other like, oh, we have to learn food trucks now, right?
And like 80% of our listeners, that's exactly what they do, which is why
Absolutely.
the Daily Dose is here to help, because everybody just jumps in and then they're like, wait a minute, we need to figure out operations. How do we tell people where we're at? So yeah, keep going. So this is a very good story. A lot of people can relate to your journey.
Well, we've found that. So we're definitely not alone in this. And one of the things that I find too, that, being around literally thousands and thousands of small businesses work with through the, many, many years of doing this, it always breaks my heart to see them not succeed. And it usually comes down to either the operations side, they just don't know what they're doing running their business, or the marketing side, the sales and marketing side, meaning they don't know how to get customers. So as we struggled to figure out how to do this, we couldn't find, at least for the shaved ice business, we couldn't find what we thought was the best, here's the program. I kept telling my wife, who can I just go pay a couple $1,000s to just show me exactly how to do this? And we didn't find that. But what we did find is a lot of food truckers, a lot of business owners were very cool, very gracious, gave us their time and answered our questions. And so we figured it out. We started by doing events. We bounced around to doing a number of events, and immediately we had a lot of success with it. Immediately, at least with our product, people showed up. People wanted to try it. People wanted to see what it was. And then over time, we found one permanent location we parked in. The city didn't let us stay there, so we found another one. It didn't have much traffic there, so we found another one. And we've been in that spot now for 3 years. And then while doing this, I just kept telling my wife, I want to take what I've learned before the food truck world, all the sales and marketing, training, technology.
Your wheelhouse.
Exactly. And combine it with this, with food truckers. So we created a program specifically for shaved ice, how to get started with that, and a Facebook group for food truck marketing. And there's a lot of things that we're doing around that now. So it's been a journey. If you would ask me 5 years ago, if this is what I'm doing today, I would not expected that, but I'm here and I love it. And I love working with this world.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's so amazing. I've been working with small businesses for quite some time, and food trucks and restaurants were my core business when the pandemic hit. That's why we raised the funds and built the platform for our apps to help those businesses directly connect with their target market. But before that, it's like you have your world. I mean, I was in corporate America, you were, so that's where my mind went to recently. Like, let's take all that knowledge and what I used to do helping small businesses as far as scaling, and let's just share the information, because the food truck owners, I love them. They're like the best business people to work with. Yeah, everybody is so gracious. So let's, for our listeners, let's break down what you would have done differently. One thing I caught you said was you were in one location, and this is something I get a lot of questions come through regarding the podcast, or if we were on YouTube. Is it better to be moving around? And I would say, of course, I have to plug our apps. Yes, if you have a mobile app, because your customers can find you. But what was the process, or what would you have done differently, Scott, when you said you found that first location, second or third? Like, for somebody who's new, who's listening, so they don't have to go through that pain.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is first understanding if you are going to stay in one, well, no, take that back before that. Decide what business model do you want? Do you want to be in one location, or do you want to go to event to event to event? And honestly, there's pros and cons to both. I think it's a matter of lifestyle, what you want. We wanted a semi-permanent location, meaning I take a trailer or a truck and I park it and I keep it there, but it's not fixed to the ground. I could move it if I had to. Right. Just because the way we wanted to set up the business was that my wife and I didn't have to work in it. We wanted to hire our kids and hire teenagers and hire others to be there. So we had to have it in one spot, right?
The dream, the American dream.
You have to have a very clear vision of what you want your business, to be like. What should it look like? What should the customer experience be like? And this, a lot of things that I try to talk to food truck owners on, have that. But then from there, once you do determine, let's say you do determine, I want to find a location. The hardest part of this business for us was dealing with the cities. Was it the city or was it the county? And what do I need for state permitting and all that? And I know every area is a little different. So there's good resources out there to help you kind of generally figure it out. But once you get down to your local area, it's kind of tough. So we didn't understand what the city would allow versus what the county would allow, and what's city jurisdiction versus what's county jurisdiction, and what can we be at, where can't we be at. And we realized the reason why there's not many of these businesses here, at least in Orlando, is that they don't allow you to stay in one spot. So then we had to do tons of research and figure out literally the gray area on the map of where can we be at. So I guess going into this business, I think you need to educate yourself on as much of that as you can. But at the same time, there's a certain amount of, what's the saying? I'll ask for forgiveness.
Permission later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it now. Ask for permission later.
Right.
And my mom is a firm believer in that. And I think that's why I've gotten so far in my career.
It helps, right? So our first location, I had a
think
good
outside
friend.
the box. I mean, they always, all they're going to do is tell you no. And as long as you're not going to jail, let's set a preface it for the listeners. There's a line.
Yeah, there's a line.
But if they're just going to come over and just give you a slap on the wrist, right?
And that's kind of what happened. I had a good friend. It was the 4th of July. Fireworks were coming up, and my friend had a parking lot down the street from where it would be. So he's like, come and set up here, and I couldn't get an answer from the city. We it wasn't that we didn't try, we just couldn't get a good answer. So after a while I was like, screw it, let's go park it and see what happens.
Right.
We did, and all the customers came, and then within 2 or 3 days the city came as well, and they said, listen, you can't be here, here's your regulations. But I was happy about that, because now I could start the conversation with the right decision maker and understand what needed to happen. So that location didn't work because of a city permitting regulation reason. We found location number 2, and that didn't work because of the traffic issue. We didn't get enough people turning in, didn't have people coming. And I kept looking, it's like, this isn't going to work. So eventually I took my lessons from 2 locations, found location 3, which, as I said, I've been there for 3 years, and that worked out great because the city and the county were cool with it, and the people would come. And so it was the best mesh of everything for us. And
Awesome.
while it's not perfect, it worked out great.
So do a deep dive. Tell us describe the location. Why is it so fabulous?
So it's we're in a Shell station parking lot, a gas station.
Oh, yeah, lots of traffic.
Yeah, it's we're in a suburb of Orlando called Claremont, and there's one main street into there. And I looked at the numbers a while back. There are tens of thousands of cars that drive by this thing, every couple of hours.
Right.
So it's very busy. But then also one thing I learned, this is something I didn't know. Location number 2, we tried, there wasn't good traffic. It was a great location as far as drive-by, but it was in a parking lot for a dance studio and like karate studio and stuff like that. So it sounds good, but what I found is the people driving by didn't realize that our shop was there for everyone. They figured it was just there for the kids coming out of the dance studio.
Like it was like they like a birthday party and they rented.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, it's just for fun for them. But
yeah,
in a gas station or a Walmart or Lowe's or whatever you can find, everybody knows that, well, there's something there. It's for everybody. So that's part of what helped too, is that the customers or people driving by knew that this is a spot that we can turn into. And then we just turned on and the marketing of it. We started doing a lot of social media. We started doing a lot of marketing around that. That's been a big, huge portion of it, because we've done a lot of studying to see, well, why are you coming? And there's a pretty good split now between drive-by / referral, or they saw our marketing somewhere. So that's just a way to keep getting more customers.
So tell me, let's talk, let the listeners understand, how do you go about an agreement or like some type of contract, or you're renting the space with the owners of that particular gas station? So let's walk the listeners through that.
Sure. So good old fashioned door knocking, to tell you the truth. We had after learning where we could and couldn't be, there was only a couple spots that the city and county permits to be at. So I went to all of those that had businesses that were viable and just walked in. So I walked into the gas station one day, and there's an attendant working there. And I said, hey, we have a food trailer. I'd love to set up here. Who owns this gas station? And they're like, oh, contact so-and-so. So I contacted so-and-so, and he said, contact so-and-so. And then I contacted that guy and eventually got to the owner. And then it became, this is where my sales, background helped. I didn't just walk in, nothing. I walked in with a 2-page kind of proposal and just said, listen, we'd love to set up here. We're willing to talk about paying rent, utilities, et cetera. But by us being here, we think we can drive a good amount of traffic and business your way, because they're going to see it here. And so at that point, we had a social media following already from doing events, and we had a bit of a reach, not much, like very little, but still something. So I could sit down and I could share with them, there's a lot of value in you and having us be here. And for them, it was a quick sell. It was like, yeah, no problem. Now I had to then get permission from the gas company. That took more legal hoops to jump through. But as far as the permission from the owner being there, honestly, for us at least, and for a lot of the students I've worked with, it was pretty easy, because you don't just go into this of like, I need to be here, this is going to help me. Rather, it's if we can work on a relationship, this is going to help you a ton. Yeah. And then we also agreed with them not to carry things like bottled water, for example. And then anytime somebody asked for that, we send them into the gas station, or we would give out for a while little postcards, or 10 cents off per gallon of gas, or all sorts of things that we'd be giving to our customers that help the gas station get business too. So now as time goes on, and what he told me, there have been dozens and dozens of other business owners who have tried to get in our spot, but he's like, no, we're happy with you because of what you do for us. So we created a good relationship. That's a win-win for them.
I love it. So listen, for our listeners, if you're just tuning in, Scott Morrison is entrepreneur, food truck owner, and he's also taken the time to document marketing tips that he's learned along the way. So what he's talking about right now is he's bringing value to the business where he's found his permanent location. He went in with a game plan. It was structured. He said, look, I'm going to drive traffic to your business. This is a win-win for us both. And I think that approach is amazing. If you are thinking about trying to find a permanent location or learn more about how to market your business, Scott, tell us when your classes are coming up. I know you've got some opportunities where people could tune in to learn more.
Yeah, we have a number of things actually coming up, but the week of March 14th through the 17th. So we're doing Monday through Thursday. We're doing four topics, 4 classes over there, and they're all marketing related. One's about strategy and marketing pillars. One's about content. One's about tools and apps that you can use. And the one's about marketing past social media. So we're doing those and coinciding with that with the new marketing platform we're coming out with. It'll be called foodandnice.com. That's going to be like a marketing strategy you get every month, as well as templates for your social media and all that. So probably the best way to do it, actually, Helen, I set up a link for you as well. sweet-profits.com/Helen. They go to that, it'll take them anybody who tunes into this, we're going to give them a little extra love and a couple extra perks if they come through that link as well. These classes are free to join. We have a Facebook group. We do classes on a regular basis that it's only marketing specific. If you want help as far as how to start your business, how to get going with the business, and that side of it, that's the food truck training group. They're excellent. They're the best resource for that. If you want to talk about the marketing side, that's really all that we're focusing on, is the sales and marketing, the business development, we'll call it, of that. So we have a Facebook group that helps with that as well.
I love it. Yeah. So we will definitely be posting the link below for anybody who's listening and wants to jump on those calls. So that means I'm going to have to make sure that this posts tomorrow. We're recording today, Tuesday. So that'll be Wednesday morning. So we're talking about next Monday. And I believe that is the 14th, right?
Yeah, that's the 14th.
Yeah. So starting on the Monday, the 14th, and you just click the link below, 4 separate classes. And Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, you're offering 2 different times each day for their convenience. So if you've got kids to go to school, or you've got a part-time job or a full-time job, hopefully you can make one of those classes. Yeah.
It'll be 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern time. Expect by the end of it, I will have no voice for the weekends or after that. So
Are you just doing this on your own, or do you have somebody else that's kind of tag teaming?
I'll do that. I have a team behind us that does a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but as far as the classes and the training, I'll be the one presenting and talking.
The leading. And what's the duration?
They'll usually be like 45 minutes to an hour, but I believe when I do a lot of these trainings, like we'll do some trainings. We'll get, like we did a shaved ice roundtable discussion a couple weeks ago, and it lasted like 2.5 hours because everyone had questions. They want to talk and they want to do stuff. So you're not expected to stay there. You stay as long as you want, of course, but if you keep asking questions, I'll stay until I got to go pick up my kids, or my wife tells me to pick up garbage or something,
I love it. Okay. So one last question I like to ask at the end. If there's anything that, if you could look back and you going into the food truck business that you wished you would have known, like you on top of mind, what would it be to share with our new business owners? First thing that comes to mind.
It's not as it's not as scary or as a big deal as you might think it is. I came into this again with a lot of business experience, and so I was very comfortable with that, but it seemed overwhelming, especially when I started getting a little bit like, cities aren't very easy to work with, right? And then there's the whole, food safe side of it. And then there's getting supplies. There's all this other stuff that I didn't know. And maybe it was just me, but there was a lot of times I'd sit there and I'd feel kind of overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? The comfort I kept having is I'd look around and see, well, there's tens of thousands of other food truck owners. They figured it out. I can too. But I guess that's one advice I give to a lot of business owners. And this is also stems from many of the questions I get, is it's not as scary as you think. And in the end, if you follow the right principles, and you guys in your group teach those principles, if you follow the right principles, it's going to work and it's going to be worthwhile as long as you stick with it. So just get over yourself, just do it, just get started and try it, and it'll be great.
I love it. It's so funny. Today's actual topic of the day was feeling overwhelmed, like this is the daily
Oh.
dose for you. So that's so interesting because we've been programmed actually to feel bad when we are overwhelmed, but we should not feel bad. That is not the intent. Do not judge yourself. Do not feel bad, because the tip of the day here, and I would say the takeaway, Scott's just kind of nailed it, is if you don't feel overwhelmed, that means you're comfortable when you wake up and you've already done all this before and you're an expert. And that's not the case. So you just have to kind of accept it and say, this is new for me, and then tackle one task at a time. That's the tip of the day. Just pick one thing, get good at it, and then move on to the next. And it will all fall into place, like Scott just said. So I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Scott. And Scott didn't pick a song of the day. So he's got Katy Perry flying around to Eye of the Tiger.
Katie's awesome. I'll take it.
Yeah. So we really appreciate you, Scott. And thank you so much for offering free trainings to business owners.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.